Hi and welcome to another writing blog. My name is Susanna, I'm an indie author and a freelance book formatter. My debut novel Katie is a modern retelling of Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey, and I've also self-published an urban fantasy short story, In the Shadow of Death. My current work in progress, Project Prehistory, is a coming-of-age story set in a prehistoric matriarchal society. I'm currently working on the fifth draft and I'm planning to start querying it next year. But today I'm actually working on a cozy fantasy short story. I wrote the first draft in November 2023, and since then the short story has been waiting for the right moment for me to start editing it. In my previous writing log I read the short story, and since then I've read it a couple of more times. I've done some brainstorming and I've written down all my notes. So I have a pretty good idea of how I want to edit the story. The story has around 5,000 words. I don't know how far I'm going to get today, but I at least want to get started. So I'm going to make a new copy of the Word document and start editing the text. I obviously don't want to show you the story, but even blurred out, this probably gives you some idea how many highlights and comments I have, or in other words, how much I need to change. It's a lot. I had 5 hours today to work on the short story, and I edited 1756 words out of a little over 5,000 words, which means I edited around 1/3 of the short story. The first scene took me a long time to edit. There are 5 scenes in this short story and each of them is around 1,000 words. The problem in the first draft was that the pacing was really slow. So I needed to rewrite the beginning, delete some stuff, and also reorganize the material so that the pacing became faster. But after the first 1 or 1.5 pages, the editing became a lot easier. Today I edited the first scene and the majority of the second scene. But now I've reached the point in the story that needs a lot of rewriting. I need to give more information about the villain, and I also want to delete some information that I've decided I want to reveal later in the story. So I think this is a good point to stop for today. I don't know when I have time to come back to this short story, but at least I've edited 1/3 of it. It's Tuesday, May 27th, and I have 2 chapters left of Project Prehistory. So today I'm editing the penultimate chapter, chapter 38. I read that chapter yesterday and I don't think there's anything major there, it's just line edits at this point. So it shouldn't take me too long. It's 2.5 hours later. It took me a little longer than I anticipated, but I needed to add some things to the story to make the world building a bit clearer. But I also managed to delete some words. My current word count is 137,495, which means I can finally round down the word count to 137,000 instead of rounding it up to 138,000, which is great. I'm going to read chapter 39 in the evening and edit it tomorrow, but right now I have to go to the library. It's Wednesday, May 28th, and I only have one chapter left of Project Prehistory, so let's finish this draft. It took 2.5 hours again, and now chapter 39 is done. But that doesn't actually mean that draft 5 would be finished. I still want to read the text from start to finish and do some final polishing. Yesterday, as I was editing chapter 38, I realized that there are 2 things that I need to change in previous chapters. In both of those cases, I had used the same expression in a similar context, and I want to change those to avoid unnecessary repetition. There's also a paragraph in chapter 33, I think, that I'm thinking that I want to delete. That's a bit of a kill your darlings moment because I really love that paragraph, but I think the text will flow better without it. And then I still have to edit the beginning of chapter 1 based on the feedback I got from the Writers' Sanctuary first page contest. So it will probably take me a couple of weeks before draft 5 is completely finished. My current word count is 137,305 words, which means that in draft 5 I've currently got around 1,500 words. 137,000 words is still quite a lot, but I have a lot of world building, there's 2 points of view, and this is a coming of age story, so my main characters have a lot of growing up to do. We'll see what the agents have to say about the word count once I start querying. But right now I won't worry about that and concentrate on finishing draft 5. So I will read it one more time and then let it rest while I work on the query package. I'll come back to it and read it one more time right before I'm ready to start querying, but I'll keep you posted on the progress.